we?
We
Mom
are
and Dad.
Alan and Paula.
Okay. And I think you know how we met you. It was on June 11th, 1966. And
Actually, I got to meet you first because your mom was out under
I was out of it.
And the doctor told me I should leave the room, and I came back in 5 or 10 minutes, and there you were, gorgeous and screaming.
And I think it was 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, right?
That's right.
Okay, and then our first impression of him, I thought you were the most gorgeous thing I had ever seen. Of course, you didn't start crying 24 hours straight for another 10 days. So for those 10 days, I thought you were the best thing since chopped liver.
And then in 10 days, you started, and that I can never forget. 3 months of living hell, and then guess what happened? Joshua did it to you.
Do we have any advice? Well, just stay as sweet, as caring, and as loving a son, father, and husband as you are now, and we wish you 50 more wonderful years.
The only difference between Mark and I is that usually sons idolize their fathers. In this one, the father idolized the son. You have achieved and accomplished so much in your life. I am so proud and impressed with you.
And we love you.
Love you.
Love you.
We want to wish you happy birthday.
My favorite memory of Mark is when he used to drive me to school when he was a senior and I was a freshman in high school. And one day it was really, really snowy and he was driving way too fast down Deerfield Road to the overpass on the way to school. And we skidded and jumped over the median, and the car got stuck on the median, and eventually the police came and we were trying to get to school, so the policeman gave us a ride to school. So Uncle Mark and I were sitting in the back seat of the car, and right before we got to school, the policeman turned on the lights and the sirens and then dropped us off at school.
My name's Jeff Widman. I met Mark when I was about 5 years old. We lived across the street from each other, grew up together. My first impression of Mark was that he was smarter than me, and that's still my impression 45 years later. My favorite memory of Mark is probably riding our bikes around the neighborhoods, around construction sites, looking for beer cans for our beer can collection. Now that you're an empty nester, or soon to be an empty nester, I would join a band. Julie's probably gonna want you out of the house, so join a band, play some music. Happy birthday, my brother. I love you. You've been a big brother to me my entire life. I wish you a very happy birthday, many more, and have a great day.
We're Rebecca and Dan Lubetkin, and we're Julie's parents. I had an impression of him back in the fall of 1986. I was at a conference in Princeton and had nothing to do on one of the evenings and thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll surprise Julie by showing up in her room when she doesn't expect me. And so I drove over to the university, came to her dorm, knocked on the door, and one of her roommates answered and said, I'm so sorry, Julie's not here now. Come on in if you'd like to look at her room. I'll show you her room. I said, okay, that would be good. So she walks through I guess it was the living room, and opens the door to Julie's bedroom before she turned on the light. So it was dark when she opened the door, and there, starkly in front of me, she pointed out that that's Julie's bunk. And on the wall of Julie's bunk, right next to where she slept, in huge red neon paint, was, I love you, Julie. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't even know Julie had a boyfriend. I didn't know any of this. Who is this person? And boy, we're going to have to spend a lot of money cleaning up that wall before they let her leave for this year. But the best thing that I thought was, Isn't it wonderful that there's somebody out there who loves her?
Here's a young man who's not particularly observant, who will travel 50 miles with a bad foot and go to a synagogue and sit through a long Purim service so he can watch his girlfriend's mother chant the Megillah. I told Becky, this is really a keeper.
Hi, Mark. It's your sister-in-law, the one in New York City, married to Ken Drake, Erica Lubetkin. I also have a lot of memories of you, particularly over the years, where you don't only do one thing at once. You do about a dozen things, where you are a super multitasker. And, you know, Julie would be sleeping in the morning, and by that time you had, like, the whole house rewired. You had read the paper, you had gone grocery shopping, you had done some computer project, you had written something, and I guess my view of you and my thoughts of you is always someone who's always active and making Julie's life easier, because that's what you should do, right? And Julie should sleep, because she's a good, we Lubeckins are sleepers, we're slower people.
How do you and I know each other? God only knows. When I think back to Princeton, I feel like I knew you from day one. I guess we met through Tiger Magazine, and then of course we were both in Campus Club together. So between those two things, we pretty much overlapped our entire 4 years doing stuff together that was pretty integral, I think, to both of our Princeton experiences. I would say that you're a really good writer, and so I would encourage you, if it's something you want to do, to keep writing or to do more writing. I also think you're one of the funniest people I know, and just wanted to say that I appreciate all the stuff that you put on Facebook, and you're always the person who has the funniest thing to say, the sharpest thing to say, always the person who comes back fastest with a witty quip. So I appreciate the fact that we're in touch that way.
Hey Mark, so as you can see, I'm standing in front of the 930 Club, and when I think about you, I think about all those great shows we've seen over the years, like The Replacements, and all the great mixes you've made every year. And you're a great friend, you're an all-around great guy, you were very smart to marry an amazing wife, and I just want to wish you a very, very happy birthday.
I've been lucky enough to know Mark for about the last 25 years. We started going to shows together. First show we went to was Yola Tango at the old Kennel Club, and that's led to, I think, we saw that band alone probably 15 or more times. Infamous pizza incident. The firm had long taken summer associates, summer interns to a fancy French cooking school. And I'm sure you know, Mark is not exactly a fancy French food kind of guy. He took one look at the menu and decided that he would have North Beach pizzas delivered during dinner. So in the middle of this fancy dinner with wine and waiters and everything, in comes North Beach Pizza, which we thought was hilarious. And the people who own the restaurant did not. So they called up the firm and said that our firm was banned from ever coming again, which led to Mark having to write an apology letter. Mark, you've been my best friend, and I can't say enough good things about you and how lucky I am.
Happy birthday and many more from the Solomons.
We've had a lot of great memories together these last 30 years.
Elliot, it's not 30, it's 20.
Well, we've done a lot of great things. We climbed the Alps.
Not the Alps, Elliot, it's Yosemite.
Well, we celebrate Kwanzaa every year together.
Kwanzaa, no, it's the Jewish holidays and New Year's that we do each year.
Well, how about, I was so touched when you named your daughter Alyssa after ours.
Oh my God, Elliot, their Alyssa is older than ours.
Well, we've had a lot of fond memories. I've just mentioned a few, and I'd do them all again if I could only remember what they were. Happy 50th.
50th, Mark.
My name is Rick Shondar, representing Rick and Lisa. My first impression of Mark was that he is smart, he's liberal, and he's sarcastic. And to me, that is an awesome combination. My best advice, forget your 50.
Hey Daddy, it's your favorite daughter and your least favorite daughter all incorporated into one. And though I don't remember it, if I had to guess, I'd say my first impression probably was that you have a lot of very fuzzy, very curly hair. And part of that's still true. It's still pretty curly and pretty fuzzy. You just don't have a lot of it. I'd say my first vivid memory that I can remember must have been you driving me home from my first Celtic Cup. I was sleeping in the back, holding my plaque close to my heart because that was the first big award I guess I'd ever won. And you were sitting in the front. And I think this is such an important memory because looking back on it, like if I said at that time that you were going to be a soccer dad, nobody really would have believed it. But that really was the first step to becoming a soccer dad, and a really good one because you don't complain, and you actually don't complain about my shin guards anymore, which is pretty surprising because they still smell really bad. But you drive me places, you support me in soccer and in everything I do, and I think that memory really shows like you were learning to adapt and change kind of your expectations in a child. I was a tomboy, I was a soccer player, I was not a bassist, nor was I a little princess, even though you say that I am. What song don't I associate with you? That's a better question, because up until a couple weeks ago, I might have said I associate rock with you and classic rock and stuff like the Beatles and the Fish and the Who and all your crazy bands that you're always listening to. And then you started liking Taylor Swift, and that made it a little different because now I can't say that I only associate rock with you. I also associate boring teenage music with you. Advice for you on your 50th birthday. Okay, well, obviously I'm not 50, so there's no real advice I can give you, but I'd say get some more sleep, keep spoiling the cat because we love him, and take care of yourself. I love you, Daddy. Happy 50th birthday. Thank you for being incredible, and I honestly don't know what I'm going to do not living in your house these next 4 years, but I know that every time I call you, you'll be ready to answer and talk to me and have the kitty and the camera with you, so that's pretty special. And I love you a lot, and I have a special message from you from a special someone named Marbles.
So take a look what you've done. 'Cause baby, now we got
Okay, bye, Daddy.
Now we got problems, and I don't think we can solve them. You made a really deep cut.
All right, hello. My name is Josh Fagel, and I'm here in beautiful Sigma Nu on an unfortunately cloudy day, but my spirits are high. My roommate's over there. Say hi, Jose.
Hello.
And I am making this video on the incredible occasion that my father is turning 50. What was my first impression of him? Probably that he was balding way too quickly, like something has to be wrong. Or maybe that he spent too much time burning CDs and I thought that he should maybe try a different hobby or something. I don't know. Respect though, respect. What is your favorite memory of Mark? Let's see. I think two things come to mind. One of them is an actual memory and one of them is something that's just been consistent. The actual memory is kind of an interesting story. It was when I was in the pool when I think around 7 or 8 years old, and my sister, so smart, decided to jump on top of me and get on my shoulders in the deep end. And just like a great father, my dad dove and tackled her off of my shoulders. So that was the second time that he gave me life, which was cool. On the more sentimental side, I would say I think my favorite memory is just watching him have political discussions with people who don't share the same political views as him. He's so smart, so good at arguing, so calm, so collected, and so thoughtful. It has affected the way that I talk to people, and just made me so impressed at his social skills and just patience in general. It's extremely impressive. Amazing. Do you have any advice for him on his 50th birthday? I have 3 things. 2 of them are serious, 1 of them not so much. 1, finish your book. You are an amazing writer and extremely creative, and I want to see your finished product. 2, run for public office. I think that you would do a lot of good things for the world, and I don't know why anyone would not want to vote for you. Maybe you're too liberal, maybe. And 3, don't waste your money on haircuts every other week. You look exactly the same. But anyways, Dad, really, happy 50th birthday. You were amazing. You are my role model. I look up to you so much. I'm so sad I cannot be there on your 50th, but I'm there in spirit. I love you so much. Happy 50th birthday.
Sugar magnolia, blossoms blooming, heads all empty and I don't care.
I have known Mark for 32 years. I met him the first day of our freshman year of college. I was visiting, I was meeting somebody else who lived locally to me, and I met Mark, and it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. So in terms of my first impression of him, I thought he was cute, I thought he was funny, I thought he was nice, and as I said, we became friends for 2 years. So a couple of impressions from college. One was he wrote a song about me. It was very sweet, and we laughed a lot about it. The chorus was something like, Julie, 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 and it was just very nice. He also would put up posters on his room senior year, so when I would walk by before my 9 a.m. class, I would see notes from him, and my friends would be with me and see them. Things like, I'm going to marry Julie Lubetkin someday. And this is when we were 20 years old. And after that, our wedding, a nice memory was when he called me just to make sure I was going to go through with it. And then, which of course I was, and then obviously being there and with me and my partner for the birth of our children. And the other thing that's a constant memory and a constant with Mark is his unconditional love. And it's something that I would say is one of the greatest things about him, something that I feel every single day. And even when we argue, like when we're in New York trying to get in from New Jersey to New York and we're going the wrong way, we still, I still feel it. And my first piece of advice was to, please take care of yourself, continue taking care of yourself, work not only on the muscles that you see or other people see in the mirror, but also the muscles that will keep you strong for the rest of your life, like your back muscles. I would say try to get more sleep, and then for the most part stay exactly the way you are. You're a kind, ethical, loving, good person. And then maybe try watching a little bit of sports, because we will have a lot of time after the kids leave and we might want to watch some sports together.
Don't go changing to try and please me. You've never let me down before. Don't imagine you're too familiar, and I don't see you anymore.